Thank you so much, Ondiro. Now, welcome to the segment that gives you an opportunity of telling us what's on your mind on the topic of discussion. Now, this week we're talking about the political rallies that have been going on around the country, despite the fact that Kenya and around the world there is the coronavirus. Now, let's start with Twitter, where our first tweet at Sheforo, she says, "I don't even know what's more exhausting. That Kenya is still in 2020, yet youth have started losing their lives to politics. That there is zero accountability to political chaos or deaths. That 2021 and 2022 will probably be on the red politically. I really don't, but Kenya is tiring." Now, we've seen politics and politicians going around their businesses and talking about different agendas that at the end of the day, Kenyans are going to lose a lot. Now, remember, COVID-19 is still with us, and we're being told to keep and observe social distancing, something that political rallies ignores every single time. Now, you as a Kenyan, is it something that you would agree to? You tell me. Now, the next tweet at Kennedy Odede, he says, As a nation, we have to learn from our past. Violence doesn't pay. 2007 post-election violence taught us that we should never fight our brothers or sisters because of politics. Politicians come and go, but Kenya remains forever. Let's shun violence. Unity is our strength. Pamoja daima. Now, I agree with Kennedy. Violence is something that we saw in 2007, and it was deadly and bloody, something that no other country, especially Kenya, does not want to be involved in. Now, you might disagree and say, okay, fine, let's go and be part of the political rallies that are going around the country. But at the end of the day, is your security assured? We've seen deaths. Already 2 people are dead. Something that politicians will never tell you is they will not guarantee your security in those political rallies. Another tweet at Njenga Wakungu, even if we banned them, that is the political rallies, that wouldn't help at all, since Kenya is filled with politicians who lack mature politics. If we would have politics, it should be about peace, socio-economic stability, cohesion, and to make Kenya more productive. Now, in debrief, we've done stories regarding job losses. We've looked at nurses' strike, something that, if you look at the percentage of job losses in Kenya, a lot of people have lost their jobs. But politicians are not telling us, okay, fine, let's give you this particular strategy that will give you jobs and make Kenya stable by the beginning of 2021. They are not talking about that. Right now, it's all about who's going to win, who's going to be the political leader of a certain political party. Something that right now, go out on the street, ask any person who is jobless. The first thing that he or she will tell you, I need a job. And the political rallies are not giving that particular want by Kenyans. Another one, at Oliver Madenge, have you ever engaged in any political participation when policies and laws are being discussed in the country? I think young people in Kenya need to actively pay attention and participate in politics and not just wait for elections. Maybe that way we will have less complaints rather. And by saying getting involved in politics does not mean you throwing stones, does not mean you burning tires. No. It means you reading bills that have been proposed to the parliament and understanding, okay, fine, we did a story on reproductive bill 2019. And on the streets, they don't know about it. But these are bills that affect our lives on a daily basis directly. So Kenyans, particularly the youths who are being used by politicians, be actively involved in politics. Don't just say, okay, fine, mimi, politics siwezi. No. Politics is part of us and it will never leave. And by being part and parcel of politics, you're helping the country grow. At Dance Hall Messi, Political rallies are jeopardizing all our hard work in creating awareness amongst Kenyans. Expect the curve to surge upwards, especially in counties, since most rallies are held outside Nairobi. If you look at the age bracket where the old guys are, they're in the villages where political rallies are taken to. They're not coming to Nairobi, no. They're going to Mushadha. And we have coronavirus, something that we don't have a cure yet. And if you gather around, like I mentioned before, social distancing, if one particular person, or at least 3 people are infected in one particular crowd, just imagine the number of infections that this particular country is going to have. And that will lead to another surge, which is just going to be upwards. And we don't want lockdowns and curfews, no. Before we usher in Ondiro, let's go to the streets.
Our leaders have become very much irresponsible.
They have failed because of the dangers posed by corona. I mean, it is impossible to be unreasonable at this time when many people have died. Almost close to 1 million globally have died. It is something that we needed to take serious, so that we can be able to make sure that it does not also consume most of our people, especially the vulnerable.
How real is coronavirus? How real is it? Because you don't tell people there is coronavirus, and then the subsequent actions that follow, you are the one who are doing the same actions.
Wanafaa kutuonyesha mtindo poa. So by the time wanafanya politics, ili hali tunaambiwa kuna corona, sisi kama wananchi tunaona ni kama hakuna corona.
Such early campaign is going to confuse a lot of things in the country, because people are going to be thinking of politics and not thinking of development.
I blame squarely leaders. I don't blame the people. I blame leaders because the people are not well equipped with knowledge on what they need to do. And that vulnerability becomes a fodder for politicians to exploit.
Kenyans, we are also doing a very big mistake, because by the time you know someone is coming at your place and you are not supporting him, please, instead of throwing stones there, just don't go.
When they call for these rallies and we turn up, so we encourage them to continue.
Sisi kama tunaweza amua tusiende kwa mkutano, corona yesambaa na wao hawezi kuja. So hapo mimi naona sisi kama wananchi sisi ndio tunafeli.
The rallies have no problem if the rallies are just meant for people selling their agenda to the people. But in cases where we have violence and such things, that could be a problem.
It is not very much easy to deal with these people properly, as according to the mistake they are doing. Yeah, because these will have got big money. These people are connected financially everywhere.
Leaders should be held responsible for whatever happens in their events or in their rallies. What happened in Murang'a was very sad, losing 2 innocent souls for an election which is 2 years away.
Kama wangepeleka mkutano ya siasa huko, watu wangekufa. Tulaumu politician na tujilaumu.
The only chance and the only place leaders should be held accountable is because of words they spew or comments they make which can propagate violence.
Politicians need to be asked exactly to give a track record of what they have done. I would not propose that a politician should be able to give people handouts in looking for votes. Let us be careful with this narrative of Tanga and Kieleweke.
After having seen what we went through in 2007, some of these rights must have limitations. People must not be allowed to do what they want. So I think the government must take extra measures to regulate what the politicians do, how they hold their rallies.
I think the buck stops with the president. Okay? The president himself, he is the head of the Republic of Kenya, and everybody must respect that, okay? Then he should be the one who leaves a legacy that the transition from him to the leader who is going to come is going to be peaceful.
Kenyans tuwe Kristo, tuwe wapenda amani na tupende wenzetu, yani tuwe na ujamaa. Be it we mdogo we mkubwa, let us be very much human to each other so that Kenya can be peaceful.
He has not done so much to bring cohesion among Kenyan communities. In fact, we are seeing more people are more disgruntled more than ever.
Kila mtu ana complain president. Siyasema Uhuru amefeli. Mimi na ule mwingine na wewe ndio tumefeli. Kila kitu si Uhuru, usilaumu Uhuru kwa kila kitu. Leo sijakula Uhuru. So hapo president sidhani amefeli, yeye amefanya jukumu yake.
How do you unite a country and at the same time you have failed to unite your party? Put your house in order, then put the larger country in order, and we can be able to move forward. And that's why it's becoming even hard to achieve any economic goal in Kenya.
He brought former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka and the whole brigade. And that was a very good show of a country, of a president who really want to see some positive changes in our country.
Thank you, Vincent Adhiambo. Time now for one more thing, and that is debrief take home. We've always told you what to do or what you're doing wrong, but how about today I do something different and tell you a story? Now, in Liberia, there was a president called Samuel Doe. After being elected into office, the first thing he did is to buy all the expensive cars that there are in the world. He invested heavily in all the luxurious cars that you can ever think about. And that's all he did during his reign in power. And once he bought every single car that he could think about with public funds, he ran out of ideas on what to do with his office and his power as the president. That is one example of a Liberian leader. Now let's go over to Indonesia. In 1972, they had a prime minister who was a dictator. He wasn't everybody's favorite, but he chose to invest in one thing, and that was education. Rich or poor, you had to get an education and quality education. 30 years later, by the year 2000s, they had a really strong middle class because of the heavy investment in education. And it is this middle class that has helped build Indonesia into the country that it is today. And it's the same middle class that overthrew him out of power when he stopped serving the interests of the people. Are leaders 100% bad? I don't know. I've given you two examples. Are leaders incapable of change? I don't know. I've given you two examples. Are leaders incapable of doing good for people? I don't know. I've given you two examples. Now look at the leaders you have in your country. Which one is Samuel Doe and which one is the Indonesian Prime Minister, and which model works for you? The pick is yours. My name is Ndiro Ganga. As always, it's been a pleasure doing this. You can always talk to us. The hashtag to use is Metropole Debrief Online, or you can tweet us at Ndiro Ganga or at Metropole TV KE. The email to use is metropoletv@metropole.co.ke. We'll see you again next time. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.